The Billionaire Who Cancelled Christmas Part 6. Chapter 12, Harper Decides She Should Leave. Harper didn't cry. Not at first. She shut the door gently, not dramatically, not angrily, just firmly enough to create a barrier between herself and the man standing in the hallway. Then she leaned her forehead against the cool wood. Just breathed. 1 breath. 2. Her suitcase lay open on the bed behind her, half packed in a way that looked more like emotional triage than actual travel preparation. She pushed off the door slowly and walked toward it. Sweaters. Camera lenses. Charger cords. A pair of gloves she forgot she owned. She wasn't thinking clearly, she knew that. She wasn't even sure she wanted to leave the second the weather cleared. But after hearing Clarissa's post, after seeing the photo, after watching Rosalind's careful scrutiny and the polished world she'd stumbled into, Harper felt impossibly out of place. Like she'd wandered into a story where her character didn't belong. She folded another sweater, her hands trembling slightly. "I shouldn't be here," she whispered to the empty room. "This isn't my world." A quiet knock sounded at her door. She froze. Her pulse jumped. She didn't need to ask who it was. His presence was unmistakable, even through 3 inches of solid wood. Harper Grayson's voice came, low and controlled. "Please open the door." She closed her eyes, exhaling through her nose. She didn't want to fight. She didn't want to cry. She didn't want to feel small or foolish or embarrassed. She just wanted space. Which Grayson Hale, for all his precision and intelligence, didn't seem to understand. "I need to speak with you," he tried again. Harper stayed silent. He stood there a moment, and she could practically sense him assembling arguments, logical ones, efficient ones, ones he believed would solve this like it was a corporate miscommunication rather than a very human ache. Finally, she forced herself to speak. "Grayson," she said softly, "please. Not right now." Silence on the other side. A long one. Then, "All right," he murmured. His footsteps retreated down the hallway. But each one felt wrong, too heavy, too slow, too unlike the man who normally moved with purpose. Harper sat on the edge of the bed, listening until the echoes faded. Only then did the first tear fall. She wiped it quickly, almost angrily, refusing to let more follow. "You're overreacting," she muttered to herself. "You're tired. You're stressed. You're stuck in a snow fortress with a man who treats emotions like tax liabilities." She closed her suitcase halfway, enough to signal her intention but not enough to commit. Because the truth was, she didn't want to leave. Not really. She liked the lodge. She liked the staff. She liked the quiet. And yes, she liked him, even when he drove her up every metaphorical wall available. But she wasn't going to be the person who lingered where she wasn't wanted. And she definitely wasn't going to insert herself into the orbit of a man whose mother was actively pairing him with someone else. So she returned to packing, slow and unsteady. A knock sounded again, lighter this time, nervous. Harper didn't look up. "Harper." It was Lydia, one of the housekeepers, voice soft and concerned. "Dinner's being wrapped up, and the storm is still pretty bad. I heard you were packing." Harper sighed, forcing a smile she knew Lydia couldn't see. "Just getting ready. I figure as soon as the roads open, I should probably go." "Oh." Lydia hesitated. "Mr. Hale won't like that." Harper laughed. "Not happily, more like disbelief with a hint of exhaustion. He hasn't exactly seemed thrilled to have me here. Lydia stepped in, closing the door behind her. That's not true. Well, okay. It looks true. But it's not. Harper shrugged. It's fine. Honestly. I've overstayed my accidental welcome. Lydia approached her gently, voice soft. You didn't do anything wrong, Harper. Really? Harper swallowed. It feels like I did. Lydia paused. Then she lowered her voice even further. We've all seen him these last few days. He's different. Harper blinked. Different how? Less frozen, Lydia whispered. Less sealed shut. Less remote. Harper felt her throat tighten. Because of me, she asked, almost scared of what the answer might be. Lydia smiled sadly. We were kind of hoping so. Harper's breath stuttered in her chest. She wanted to believe that. She really did. But Clarissa's photo. Rosalind's careful dismissal. Grayson's hesitation. It all tumbled together in her mind until leaving felt safer than staying. She stood, wiping her palms on her jeans nervously. I think she said softly, that I need to go before I make things worse. Lydia looked like she wanted to argue, but she also respected boundaries. She nodded gently. If you need help with anything, let me know. After she left, Harper zipped the suitcase halfway closed and sat beside it, her heart heavy but certain about one thing. She couldn't be the inconvenient holiday obstacle in Grayson Hale's life. Not when she'd already seen the woman everyone expected him to be with. Not when the whole thing felt like a puzzle she wasn't meant to fit. She rose, brushing off her sweater. She'd tell him later. When she had the courage. When the storm eased. When disappearing felt less like running and more like restoring balance. But for now. She opened the door quietly, peeking into the hallway to make sure Grayson wasn't there. He wasn't. She exhaled in relief and guilt. Then she slipped out, heading toward the lobby, unaware that Grayson was in his office 2 floors above, staring at the snow-filled windows with a rare, troubled expression. And absolutely refusing to admit the real reason her decision to leave unsettled him more than any storm ever could. Chapter 13. The Lift Ride of Doom. The storm had finally started to lie. From inside the lodge, the world looked almost calm, not clear, but brighter. The snow softened, falling straight instead of sideways. The sky shifted from iron gray to something closer to dull pearl. To an untrained eye, it looked like the storm was easing. But the mountain wasn't tricked. Not really. And neither was Harper, except she wanted to believe it was safe. Needed to believe it. The ache of the day sat heavy in her chest, a mix of humiliation, confusion, and that hollow feeling you get when someone pulls away from you gently but unmistakably. She just wanted space. For her head. For her heart. For whatever dignity she still had left. Which was the exact moment Rosalind Hale appeared behind her like a glamorous snow apparition. Harper, darling. Harper turned from the lobby window, startled. Rosalind floated toward her in a winter white coat and a matching hat that had no business looking this good during a blizzard. Oh, hi, Harper said, adjusting her grip on her camera strap. I was just, checking the weather. Rosalind glanced at the windows with a dismissive wave. Yes, it's dreadful, but it's clearing. At least enough to make use of the scenic lift. Harper blinked. The what? The scenic lift. Rosalind gestured elegantly toward the back exit. It's the quickest way down the mountain once it reopens after storms. And I've just been told it's functioning again. Harper's brows inched up. It is. Yes, dear, Rosalind said with breezy confidence. A little wind never hurt anyone. You said you were hoping to leave as soon as it was safe, correct? Harper hesitated. She had said that. And the thought of staying another night, of Grayson's stiff avoidance, Clarissa's luminous perfection, the awkward silence between them, made her stomach twist. But something in Rosalind's eyes flickered. Not malice. Not meanness. Just eagerness. Relief, even. For Rosalind, this solved everything neatly. Harper leaves. Clarissa steps in. No inconvenient love triangles. No unpredictable variables. But Harper wasn't petty. She wasn't interested in drama. She didn't want to be in the middle of anything. Are you sure the lift is running? Harper asked carefully. Rosalind clasped Harper's hands warmly. Completely, darling. Truly. Go now before the roads freeze again. Harper nodded, a small knot forming in her stomach. But she forced a grateful smile. Thank you, she said softly. I appreciate your help. Rosalind's smile faltered for just a second, remorse flickered through her expression, just a ghost of it, before she recovered her composure. Safe travels, dear. I hope your journey home is peaceful. The lift station sat just beyond the resort, connected by a short covered walkway coated in frost. The operator's hut appeared empty, odd, but maybe staff were still rotating shifts after the storm. Harper glanced around, uncertain. But the lift chairs were moving slowly, swaying gently as they rotated around the cable. She stared at the empty seat approaching, a quiet, lonely cradle suspended over a snowy abyss. Her breath puffed in the cold air. This is fine, she murmured to herself. You can do this. You're leaving a mountain, not leaping into a void. But she wasn't entirely convinced. Still, she stepped forward, let the chair scoop her up, and settled onto the cold metal seat, wrapping her hands tightly around the safety bar. As the lift ascended, the resort shrank below her, a glowing pocket of warmth swallowed by whiteness. She felt a pinch of sadness. A pinch of regret. And then, a loud mechanical jolt. The lift lurched. Hard. Harper's heart slammed into her throat as the chair jolted sideways, swaying violently. Snow blew across her face in a sudden gust. Whoa! She gripped the bar, knuckles going pale. The cable groaned above her, a deep, unsettling metallic sound that didn't feel like part of normal operations. Then, the lift stopped. Completely. The wind shifted, harsher now, whipping sharp flakes against her cheeks. Harper glanced down. The ground was far enough away to make her stomach knot. Her breath came faster. Okay, don't panic, she whispered. It's probably just a routine pause. A storm glitch. Happens all the time. She looked around. No movement. No lift operator. No staff. Nothing but blinding white and the relentless howl of the wind. Her stomach twisted. This is less fine, she muttered. Minutes passed. Long ones. Her legs trembled. Her fingers felt stiff. The wind seemed to push harder, making the chair sway once more, a slow, unnerving sway, like some giant hand was flicking it experimentally. Harper squeezed her eyes shut, breathing through the rising panic. It's okay. It's okay. It's... A voice echoed faintly below her. Harper. Her eyes snapped open. Rosalind. Harper yelled down, her voice cracking. Yes, Rosalind Hale stood below on the narrow maintenance platform beneath the lift path, clutching her coat dramatically to her chest, staring up at Harper with wide, horrified eyes. And for the first time since Harper met her, Rosalind looked completely and absolutely terrified. Oh dear heavens! Rosalind gasped. It's stuck. You're stuck. Harper swallowed hard. I noticed. Rosalind pressed a shaking hand to her forehead. Oh no, no, no. I told you it was fine. They told me it was fine. I thought it would be safe enough for a quick descent. Her voice cracked. Rosalind Hale never cracked. Harper tried to steady her tone. It's okay. Just, get help. Rosalind's panic escalated instantly. My phone has no signal. And yours is, you're dangling over a ravine. Harper glanced down again. A ravine. She hadn't realized. A fresh bolt of anxiety shot through her. Right, she whispered. Awesome. Love that for me. Rosalind looked up at her helplessly, and in that moment, all pretense fell away. No fancy gowns. No elegant posture. No socialite composure. Just a mother terrified that she'd unwittingly sent someone into danger because she'd wanted a problem gone. Harper softened despite the fear squeezing her chest. Rosalind, she called down gently, hey, look at me. Rosalind did. I'm okay, Harper said, making the words as steady as she could. Really? Just breathe with me. In through the nose. Rosalind blinked rapidly, trying to mimic her. In, Harper repeated, demonstrating. And out. Rosalind followed. Their breaths puffed clouds into the icy air. The wind wailed around them like it wanted to pry them off the mountain, but Harper kept her voice calm. It's going to be okay, she said softly. Someone will notice the lift stopped. They'll come. Rosalind nodded weakly, tears streaming down her cheeks despite the freezing temperature. I truly didn't mean, Rosalind stammered. I only thought, if you left sooner, if Clarissa had, if Grayson. Harper cut in before the guilt swallowed her whole. Rosalind, she said gently but firmly, we'll talk about that later. Right now. We're fine. You're fine. I'm fine. Just, keep breathing. The snow continued to fall around them, soft but relentless. Harper's fingers were numb, her legs cramping from holding so still, but she forced her voice to stay steady, for Rosalind. For herself. Minutes stretched thin and fragile. Rosalind kept looking up, hands trembling, whispering prayers or apologies, Harper couldn't tell which. And though fear clawed at Harper's chest, something else flickered inside her. Calm. Resilience. A steadiness she hadn't known she'd needed. She held on to it like a lifeline. Because someone had to. Someone had to stay composed. Someone had to keep hope breathing in the blowing snow. And Harper, dangling 50 feet in the air in a stopped ski lift, decided she could do that. She would do that. Even if her heart hammered. Even if her breath caught. Even if the storm wasn't nearly as done as it pretended to be. Meanwhile, back at the resort, Grayson Hale had just discovered that Harper was gone. And the expression that crossed his face, sharp, fierce, terrified, would soon launch the entire rescue effort he would insist on leading personally. But that was still a few painful minutes away. For now. Harper clung to the safety bar, breath steady, heart wild. And Rosalind Hale stood below, realizing for the first time just how wrong her solution had gone, and how deeply she wished she could take it back. Chapter 14, Harper Steps Up. Harper had always thought fear came in quick spikes, sudden, sharp, electric. Turns out fear could also be slow. Cold. Suspended. Like hanging in a ski lift 30, 40, who even knows how many feet above a ravine while snow swirled around you in soft, hypnotic spirals. Her chair creaked in the wind. She tightened her grip until her knuckles strained white against the metal. "Okay," she whispered to herself, breath shaking. "Okay, Harper. You've survived worse." Except, she really hadn't. Below her, Rosalind Hale remained on the narrow maintenance platform, coat whipping in the wind, pearls rattling like they were experiencing their own existential crisis. She kept calling up to Harper, voice thin with terror. "I didn't know the weather would shift again. They told me the lift was operational, they said it was safe. Oh heavens, Harper, I never should have encouraged you to take it." "You didn't push me onto it," Harper called down, trying for lightness. "I got on voluntarily. Mostly voluntarily. 90% voluntarily." Rosalind made a broken sound, part sob, part gasp. That was the moment Harper realized. Rosalind wasn't just worried. She was unraveling. The glamorous, unbothered, poised queen of the Hale legacy was shaking so hard she had to grip the rail to stay steady. Snow caught in her lashes and melted down her cheeks, mixing with tears she wasn't bothering to hide. Harper's instincts flared instantly, stronger than her own fear. She leaned forward, calling down gently. "Hey, Rosalind." Rosalind looked up, lip trembling. "Hi," Harper said softly, offering the smallest, warmest smile she could manage while dangling above the earth. "Let's take this one step at a time." Rosalind wiped at her eyes with gloved fingers that weren't steady at all. "I don't understand how everything went wrong. The operator must have stepped away. The storm intensified. And you're up there because of me." "Not because of you," Harper corrected immediately. "Because the mountain is a diva with poor timing." Rosalind made a choked, shocked noise that might have been a laugh if it hadn't been soaked in panic. Harper softened her voice even more. "Look at me." Rosalind did. "Good. Now breathe with me. In through your nose." Rosalind inhaled shakily. "And out through your mouth." Rosalind exhaled, a thin, wavering breath, but a breath nonetheless. Again Harper said. "We're doing this together. In. Out. In. Out." The rhythm steadied them both. Rosalind's trembling eased just enough that she unclenched her jaw, and Harper's racing pulse dialed down from panic level to intense concentration level. The wind kicked up again, pushing the suspended chair into a slow sway. Harper swallowed hard and kept her eyes on Rosalind, because focusing on someone else was the only thing keeping her from imagining the drop below her. Rosalind's voice cracked. "You're so calm. How are you so calm?" "I'm not," Harper admitted quietly. "I'm just not letting the panic take the wheel." "That sounds like something my therapist once said," Rosalind whispered. Harper smiled. "Then your therapist's onto something." Another gust rocked the chair, pushing the bar against Harper's ribs. She gasped, softly but audibly. Rosalind's panic spiked instantly. "Oh heavens, are you hurt? Are you slipping? Are you?" "Rosalind." Harper's voice came out steadier than she felt. "You're doing great. Stay with me, okay? Rosalind's hands flew to her mouth. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. Harper's expression softened. I know. You were trying to help. And you thought the lift was safe. Rosalind looked down, ashamed. I shouldn't have rushed you. I just thought, if you went home quickly, maybe everything would settle. Maybe you wouldn't feel like you were being pushed aside. Or overshadowed. Or uncomfortable. Harper blinked. That admission hit deeper than she expected. Rosalind, she said gently, I don't think you're a bad person. Rosalind made a small, wounded sound. You should. I won't. Why? Rosalind asked, voice small. I've been cold. Standoffish. Critical. My son inherited it from me, and now here we are, you stuck in the sky and me realizing I've behaved unforgivably. Harper softened even further. Maybe you've been protective. In your own way. Rosalind's eyes glistened again. Doesn't excuse anything, Harper added softly. But I understand. Rosalind stared up at her, vulnerable in a way Harper wouldn't have believed possible 24 hours ago. I misjudged you, Rosalind whispered. Terribly. Harper shook her head as much as the lift allowed. It happens. People misjudge me all the time. Usually because of things like this. She gestured vaguely to the dramatic situation. I attract weird. It's part of my charm. Rosalind laughed through tears, a real one this time, not polished or practiced. Another gust made Harper's chair creak loudly. Rosalind flinched. No. No, 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 how long can it stay like that? How long can you stay like that? What if? Rosalind, Harper interrupted gently, hi. Eyes on me. Deep breaths. We're not doing worst-case scenarios right now. Rosalind clung to her voice like a rope. Harper kept guiding her through slow breathing, grounding her, keeping her focused. Not once did Harper let the fear in her own chest show, even as her fingers grew numb and her legs tingled from holding herself so still. She talked Rosalind through the cold. Through the panic. Through the guilt. Through all the things building inside her. Minutes felt like hours. But Harper stayed steady. Stayed warm. Stayed human. And slowly, unbelievably, Rosalind Hale, queen of poise and polished perfection, let herself be comforted by the woman she had so quickly dismissed as a passing storm inconvenience. At one point, Rosalind whispered. I don't know why you're being so kind to me. Harper smiled softly. Because I know what fear feels like, she said. And nobody deserves to face it alone. Rosalind's lip trembled again, but this time, the sound that left her throat was gratitude, not panic. And for a brief moment, the storm felt quieter. Not outside, the wind still screamed across the lift cables, but between them. This wasn't a future daughter-in-law comforting a prospective mother-in-law. This wasn't a stranger rescuing a socialite. This was just two women, suspended in fear and cold and uncertainty, giving each other something real. Human empathy. Human connection. Human calm in the middle of a mountain storm. Harper didn't know how much time had passed before the distant echo of voices carried up the slope. Male voices. Urgent. Focused. Rosalind whipped her head toward the sound. Someone's coming, she cried, relief rushing through her voice like sunlight piercing through fog. Harper's chest loosened. But she didn't let go of the safety bar. Or the moment. She just closed her eyes briefly, whispering a tiny promise to herself. Hold on. Help's coming. And it was. Led by a man running through the snow with a determination that could have leveled mountains. A man who looked like he'd been carved from fear and steel and adrenaline. A man whose voice echoed up the ravine next, sharp, desperate, utterly unguarded. Harper. Her breath caught. Of course it was him. Grayson Hale. Charging into the storm like nothing in his carefully controlled life mattered except getting to her. Harper didn't move. Didn't speak. Just let relief wash over her in a trembling wave. She had kept Rosalind calm. She had kept herself steady. But the second she heard his voice, her heart broke open.
Thanks for listening to Billionaire Romance Stories, where love meets luxury in the most unexpected places. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. We love hearing your favorite twists and favorite theories. And don't forget to ring that bell, because in this world of yachts, secrets, and luxurious romance, the next story is always one click away.